Welcome to the third season.
Of the Filmmaker Show, going into its fourth season, actually in July, here at Madhouse TV, best internet station in the whole world.
Absolutely.
That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. And what are you doing here tonight?
I thought I would come to co-host the new season.
She's stealing the limelight from me when we have great actors here and a great director, and you're stealing the limelight from me?
Just for the moment.
Hey, we're going to have a clip of the Master Shift. You know, 39,900 views up to this moment on the Master Shift. And that's only on Facebook, and I just released it today to YouTube. And now it's going to start going everywhere because it's here on Madhouse TV, and we're seeing globally.
That's true.
That means Channel 20, with its 55,000 people watching us, is going to see that.
Absolutely.
This is why I give away so many autographs and you don't.
And then you wake up from your dream.
Well, someone's got to wake me up. All right, so George Sadati today is with us. He is a director, and we have a wonderful set of actors with him. And we're going to meet them individually in about a minute because I want to make sure I get the name of his company right. But I think we'll have George say it. But so it's 5-Star Millennium Entertainment.
Well, new 5-Star Millennium.
New 5-Star Millennium Entertainment. It's brand new, right out of the factory. If you look at them, they're all wearing brand new clothes. They just got them today.
On the copyright, what happened was that there was another company called Millennium Entertainment. So I had to add something in order to get a copyright for a new 5-Star.
Sure.
And there you go. And ladies and gentlemen, let me open up the cameras to Mr. George Sadati and his team, and we'll go through them. Welcome to Madhouse TV, and we are very honored and proud to have you here as our opening premiere show for their winter here, which I don't like the winter.
I'm surprised you even said that word. I'm amazed.
There you go. So George, let's get down to real business. We got a clip to show on this show, and we have another show directly after this, so you guys stick around, make sure. Because you're going to be quizzed. It's got a Catholic school teacher here, you're going to be quizzed. That's what's going to happen. So, George, you got these plays, you put them together, you pull it off in such a way that it looks like it's supposed to do that. Like, for example, the golf trial, or the, what would you call that actually?
The Golfers Association.
The Golfers Association, but it was like a minute, it was a meeting. And so you had yourself placed out, we'll see a clip on it in a few minutes, but you had yourself placed out in such a way that when you watched yourself, it looked, okay, that's really believable. We don't need like fancy background buildings. What you did was you were able to portray a situation that was on a stage somewhere, probably in front of a real audience, like the Brookhaven Town Council or the Huntington Council or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And that worked because of the way you pulled it off. Where did you get this idea from?
Well, everything I do, I try to make it either evidence-based or fact-based. So right now, there's a big thing about golf on television. So I took off with the idea of golf, because in any sport, if you look closely at it, what you see is there is a sense of humor in all sports, especially like we just saw the Olympics right now, you know, with Usain Bolt. You know who Usain Bolt is?
Mhm.
I mean, there's a joke that, you know, what did Usain Bolt's girlfriend say after he knocked on the door and went in the room and made wild, passionate love to her? She said, come in. That's how fast he is. He went in, and before she could do anything. But anyway, that's the joke.
Hold on, we're going to put a laugh track there. Sorry.
That's why I write, I don't act.
That's why you're right, not act. I get it. You got lovely actors here. So let's start. We got Mr. Pat Riley.
Hi.
And remind me of your full name again.
Mike McCasty.
Mike Mc... And I had to say that a few times myself. Mike, so it doesn't sound like Mike McNasty.
Mike McCasty.
It's Miss Mike McCasty, like a casting director.
Right.
And speaking of great casting directors, Donna McKenna has been supplying a lot of people for us. I just want to do a quick shout out to Donna.
Absolutely.
She's amazing.
the best. Yep.
So Mike McCasty. Then Guy Carturo.
Carturo.
And we're going to pick on him because he's from St. Matthias, and so am I, although I don't generally admit it on the air. I did go to Catholic school when I was a little boy. I'm still a little boy. And
That's
so
the problem. You should still be in school.
Oh, boy.
I should be in school. Why am I not?
Take him with you back to
I
school.
think he needs
He might have
detention
to,
after we're
yeah.
done detention.
Went to see teachers in St. Matthias, and
And
we know a lot of
let's not-
people.
Yes, we do.
And Debbie,
Debbie Gross.
and it's just Gross. Not, okay, just want to make sure Debbie Gross. I say that properly. And you are also an actress. And so here we go. we have an acting troupe and a director in front of us, and they create these different shows. So I guess, Vicki, if we wouldn't mind, maybe we can roll one of those clips and we can start from there. All righty?
Reading of the minutes, Ms. Page.
As Sergeant at Arms, I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Corleone. Now, does anyone object?
Nobody's going to object. If anyone does object, I'll make them an offer they can't refuse.
I'm sure that won't be necessary, Mr. Corleone. Now, let us proceed. I would like to have had a report read by our treasurer, Mr. Vincent Ponzi, but he couldn't be here tonight. The parole board turned down his request for a leave of absence. So instead, I'll call upon our public relations officer and second vice president, Mr. Fred Arnold.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have written our U.S. Senator, Jack S. Inafog, requesting Senator Inafog to attend our upcoming St. Francis of Assisi golf tournament. Senator Inafog wrote back saying, "This is the first time I am hearing about it. I will check into the matter and have my chief of staff get back to you."
How long ago did you invite the senator?
About 6 months ago.
And have you heard anything back from the senator?
Oh yes, Senator Inafog invited me to attend his fundraising efforts for the upcoming November elections.
I guess he's a busy man with the economy and the environment and all.
Oh yes, Senator Inafog is definitely a busy man protecting our rights and our interests. I would like everyone to keep in mind that there is no jackass like our jackass.
Will that be all, Fred?
No, there was a recommendation for our upcoming...
Not
Right,
bad.
So, not bad. So how did you guys get together as a group?
Well, originally it started out as a casting call,
Okay,
and everybody submitted their resumes, and you simply tried to match the individual actor, actress with the part, and it all worked out. And
So wait, you weren't on Match.com or Plenty of Fish,
No,
you went
that-
on, okay, just one double check.
our friend Donna McKenna, the casting director that we just mentioned, always describes putting together a cast like a puzzle. It's a
Yeah.
puzzle,
Exactly.
because the person has to fit the part, they
Right.
have to fit the other people that are in the cast, in terms of height, in
Have to be
terms of hair
good-looking.
color. Roll 'em.
All right?
You know, that's very important, and I'll tell you why. I'm not an expert on Shakespeare, not by far. But in the dialogue of Romeo and Juliet, you will find that Juliet is not quite a teenager, which means tops, she's probably about 12 years old. And so for her to be 12, he must be like about 15.
Right.
Now, if you're going to cast somebody for those two roles, it would be very difficult to come up with a actor or an actress who's 12 or 15 years old with that type of dialogue.
We just went through that with a show that we're in, where it called for a young girl, like a teenager
Right.
type, and we decided that the actual part was better suited for me.
Right.
So it got changed to
Well, I'll explain to you in
someone,
a minute why.
someone who
Well,
was
what you
a,
can do is you can rewrite it, though.
that's
But
right,
you
it was
can't
rewritten,
rewrite-
it
yeah,
was
you can't
rewritten
rewrite
to,
Shakespeare.
right, exactly.
Well, if
That's
I
true.
take him out one
That's
night and
true.
we have some beers, I'm Italian, I make sure he'll change things, yeah.
We actually changed the end of the Christmas Carol.
Yeah, we did that
Yeah.
too. There's no holds barred with us, we
No.
just do
Fitting
it.
the actor with the part is very important.
Yes.
Because you have to make it believable, especially somebody like myself. I'm usually evidence-based type of a writer, which when I promote something or I write something, what I try to do is I try to do the research on whatever it is I'm doing, so as to give the storyline a credibility. It's not something like from left field. It's something that's based, and it's something that, people can relate to. And I personally feel as though, for me, it works. I don't do, fantasies, I don't do cartoons. I try to stay within the current situation as far as current events are concerned. Politics, sports, whatever it might be, religion. We just finished another one with Debbie. We did Broken Vow, talked about a pedophile. And we did Abigail Summers, which talked about executions. So whatever seems to be coming around, I try to stay in that format. But the trick to doing something like that is that you've got to consider two factors. One, you have to, in the present, you have to have your dialogue in the present. Also, you have to be able to come back 50 years from today, look at the script, look at the play and say, yeah, that still holds true today.
Right,
So you
right.
won't be doing a
So-
play pretty soon on the MTA raising their prices on Metro cards. I just want to double check.
So Debbie, what brought you to this group? How did you find them?
Well, I got into acting because I thought it would be a great fun thing to do. And when you really think about it, everything you do in life is, you're kind of acting. When you're going to work, you're acting in a certain way. So, and George put a casting call out, and I answered it.
And you hadn't done acting before?
No, I got into this later in life.
Wait, were
Okay.
you acting when we got married? Just double checking here.
I followed a script.
Well, it's a fun little hobby.
Yeah, getting married is a fun little hobby.
And how about you, Guy? What brought you to?
Well, a couple of years ago, a friend suggested I take a class at Caroline's Comedy. I took
Okay.
a 6-week course, and then I did a couple of acts over Caroline's. And then I decided, well, let's try some acting now. And George gave me a call, a casting call. Must have been about 8:30 at night. I was half asleep. And I said, I don't know, what? So I looked at the script. We went from there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why don't you ask the next question, dear?
I was going to ask you, how did you get involved, Mike?
I've been acting since third grade, so I've been doing this for quite a long time. But I did another play with George, Arab Spring, a couple of years ago. And we were set to do another play, actually, Guy and I were with him,
Yeah.
with a couple of other actors and actors that dropped out. So we put this together,
Yeah.
and we worked on this one, and I
Right.
put this together up almost very quickly.
Right, it was the next part to the Abigail Summers.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, interesting.
Yeah.
And Pat, AKA Sister Maylene?
Well, I started at 13, and I've been acting and singing and directing and producing, being everything except the set since then. So, and George called me for Abigail Summers, which interested me because it was a play about criminal law, which I haven't done since I graduated law school. And he found a way to have a woman on death row, but have there be reasonable doubt whether she had actually committed the crime after 10 years,
Wow.
which sort of throws a question on capital punishment in general.
Sure.
You know, you execute someone, then it turns out they were innocent.
Right.
You know, either because or DNA proof, or in this case, it was other
You
evidence.
can't take it back.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So you were able to fit into that role because of your law background.
Yes, and we had fun with that because there was some stuff I could tweak and say, I'm not sure they do it exactly that way. So it was fun. We had a really good time on it.
Uh-huh.
You know, it kind of played into something I really wanted to do and hadn't done in a while.
That's pretty cool, actually. And you like the law.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Vicky, we got somebody for Legal Straight Talk. Let's do it.
Yeah, during the day I do my law, and at
Uh-huh.
night I direct, I act, I sing.
Uh-huh.
Very nice. What kind of singing? What do you do?
Well, I sing in a choir that meets in Wantagh,
Why am I not surprised?
called Bel Canto. They meet in a church, but it's not a church group.
All right.
They do 3 concerts a year. 2 are big masterworks, like we're doing excerpts from Handel's Messiah in
Okay.
December, and Mendelssohn's Elijah in May, and then the March concert is they call the Pops, and that's
Sure, it's not St. Patty's Day for you.
Which should be,
It
but
should be.
one year they actually did English music.
English music.
They did the music from the British Isles.
The Irish music for St.
And I
Patrick's
said-
Day?
I will not sing an English song on St. Patrick's Day. I'm sorry.
I don't blame you. I wouldn't either.
Yeah, so no, I did something entirely different.
Good for you. That's great. So now, let's go back to you, Mr. Sadati. Where do you get all your ideas from? I know you said things of real life inspire you. That's what it boils down to. But then you sit around, and where do you create it from there?
Well, you try to take the characters, excuse me, you try to take the characters that exist in the events that you're trying to copy from, and then you take those characters and you make them fictional, but real, as far as, making the whole presentation real. It has to look like, it can't be, like I said before, it can't be something from left field. So whenever I develop anything, I try to develop it with the sense of, with a sense of realism that people can look at and can enjoy, because basically the bottom line is entertainment. So once you start with the entertainment value, then very quietly you can feed into that dialogue within the storyline, something you may believe in, something that may be real, and you're always injecting layers into something. So if you develop a storyline, you have a quote maybe from the sports world, you have a quote maybe from the Bible, you have a quote maybe from, the social community which people may engage in, say, the educational system. So you're always trying to put something in which keeps the people,
Engaged?
Do you ever
yeah.
modify your script after you get the cast
Oh,
and see what
sure.
might work better for
Matter of fact, the
individual?
first meeting that we have all the time is that we sit everybody around and we go over the whole script. So if someone feels uncomfortable with it, we simply change it.
Mhm.
And it's not a majority rule type of thing, like 4 people think something is right, 1 person thinks that. If the role is yours, then the role is yours to do what you want with it. You could change a line, you can do anything.
Right.
The only thing I want everybody to do is to know the lines themselves.
Sure.
Who comes in,
Right.
the beginning, at the end.
Sure.
And then once we agree on it, then we move forward.
Well, live theater is a lot different than the TV and movie world, because you can't edit it. You
No.
can't splice
No.
it. It's done and it's out there, and it's,
Yeah.
you just have to keep going.
It's a
What
different-
do
Yeah.
you guys do if a mistake is made? How do you recover from that?
Well, hopefully we try to edit it. I have an editing application on my.
You edit it live?
No,
I'm saying, when you- I was like, how do you do
I
that?
wanted to hear this one too. This was a good one. Right. So you edit the people. I'll get back up. Boom.
there you go.
Back to your last line, and you do it again. All right,
You hit
good.
rewind.
But after we cam it,
Mhm.
then I put it on my computer.
Right.
And from there I edit it.
No,
Okay.
but that's for something like what we saw a
Right.
few minutes ago.
Right.
I'm talking about when you're actually
In
doing
front
the
of
play,
audiences.
Every
and
night's a different show.
Yeah.
every night's a different show.
Different
That's the answer you really
Right.
have to have.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
true. I
Yeah.
think one of my biggest
Because,
blunders.
the only people who know that you made a mistake is you.
That's
The
right.
cast,
Yeah,
the
right,
people
right.
in
They don't
the
know the
audience
script.
don't.
Right.
So you just have to kind of keep going with it.
Some things work some nights
Yeah.
and don't work other nights, but
I
you
had an
try, you
interesting
feel
case
the
one
audience.
time
yeah.
whereby one of the actors in the scene missed an entire page,
Sure.
but nobody knew about it.
Right,
He just continued, and
Right.
the person picked up on it, and
Right.
he just continued along. And I
Right.
tell every actor, and everybody who wants to be an actor, if you miss a line, don't go chasing after it. Let it go and continue on. And chances are, you'll get away with it. So,
How come I didn't
We
get
had-
away with it in the Deuce?
we had a situation with the Christmas Carol where the line between nephew Fred and Scrooge, where Scrooge says to nephew Fred, "Why did you get married? Why did you fall in love?" I think you messed up the line. He said, "Why did you fall in love?" And the answer was, "Because I got married." So they just flip-flopped
They were
it
supposed to
and
be
just, we
flopped,
kept
right,
going.
right.
And nobody knew the one,
I think my biggest blunder was way back, other than the Deuce this past week. It was, I was on a stage and I was the priest. So what is it? Anything goes as the priest on the boat? Gotta remember how long ago these plays were. And I'll never forget it. I stood there and the place is packed, and I'm looking, and it's like all of a sudden I forget my line and they go, "What are we gonna do?" And I go, and I just went, and I started getting laughs, and I go, "I know, we'll sing songs!" And I grabbed a bunch of scripts and passed them out like, and everybody died laughing. No one knew where to pick it up. At some point, someone did, but no one knew any better, and you really don't know. No one realizes what's going on. Unless, of course, you walk out of an audition and you miss your line like I did, but that's fine. I won't hold it against my wife.
During a performance, somebody's inevitably going to sneeze, going to cough, somebody's going to do something, maybe even trip.
Right.
So let it go.
Yeah, you
Right.
gotta let that go.
Just keep moving on.
It's
That's
true,
right.
it's true.
That's
Now,
right.
let me tell you something about casting, what actors don't get, and sadly, I explain a lot, because they'll say, "Oh my God, well, I had a part, and then they threw me out, I don't know why, what did I do wrong?" They beat themselves up. And this is true, they do. But the reality is this, something on movies, and I don't know how much it works in your plays, there's the art direction. So if you have an actor that's 5'9", and the leading girl with him is 5'6", and suddenly they bring in some other leading girl who's better than she is, and now there's the actor at 5'9", but the other woman is 6'1". Well, of course they're gonna bump the lead guy and pay him because he's union and say, okay, well, listen, I'm really sorry, here's your paycheck, but you're out. And they don't know why, they don't give them the answers, because most of the times the other people don't know either. The decision was made so internally that now we're bringing in a 6'1" girl, we need a 6'5" guy.
That's all part of that puzzle I was talking
Yeah.
about before.
It's all
Yeah.
part of that puzzle.
I remember the movie, The Boy and the Dolphin, with Sophia Loren and Alan Ladd. You never saw them together. He was either up on the steps somewhere, or she was down, or somehow they were communicating where he was sitting down at a table and eating. But they would never sit, you never saw them together because the fact that she was much taller than him.
Ah,
And that's exactly what you were saying.
That's
And that
right.
came in that movie. But it
That's
worked.
right.
Yeah.
The Boy and the Dolphin worked.
interesting, interesting.
So is that a big factor when you're casting?
Well, yeah, to be honest with you, yeah. I don't like to have somebody, because of the fact that what I do, I take the whole person, and when I cam it, what I do is I cam it, and if somebody is too tall or too short and it doesn't mesh, I won't say they're not fit to be in the play. I just simply give them another role.
Right.
You know, I'm not here to hurt anybody's feelings.
Right.
And one thing we don't do is we don't criticize anybody, and we try to just, you know.
You should
do
be
it.
on a real set. You gotta see what happens on a real set. This is not a nice business. Where'd you get this
Right.
idea from? Let's spin to the actors a minute. What do you do to prepare for a role? We'll start with you, Debbie. Ladies first, darling.
Just read over the script, try to get an idea of who exactly the character is, and try to fit right into that.
All right, Mr. St. Matthias, let's go with
Okay.
you.
All
How do you-
I believe, I read over the script a few times just to get an idea, but then I'll study that script maybe 2 to 3 hours a night. Because I want to know every single line. I don't like making mistakes.
George, do you give them the whole script or just the sides?
The whole
Those
script.
Whole script.
I email it. The internet today, if it wasn't for the internet, we wouldn't be here. Because of the fact that to go and print something and go to the post office and mail it and go through the whole rigmarole,
Right.
it becomes very cumbersome.
Right, right,
The
right.
internet-
Good old
Change-
snail mail.
Yeah.
Do you know why they don't give you a whole script? They don't want you stealing it. So you're only supposed to get, like when I get a script for an audition, I only get maybe 3 pages. It's up to me to read into it and say, what are they doing here? And it almost forces you to watch the show or get an idea of what's going on the show. And somehow you have to be able to put that together. When I was on The Family, ABC's The Family, my the biggest day I ever had, because I was all the way upgraded into
Speaking role.
well, speaking, but it's a feature. No, principal, thank you, principal. I didn't know what they were doing. In fact, I didn't even know I was getting lines. Without a long story short,
The main actors didn't know either.
the main actors didn't know either. All they knew is I was gonna be cast on the spot, and what was gonna happen was that I was gonna take it from there with Margot Bingham, it was amazing. So, let's do this. I've got other questions for you guys coming up. We have another show, so those of you watching us on Madhouse TV, stick around, because we want to see some more of this. We'll run that clip again. And those of you on Cablevision, sorry you're out of luck, you gotta watch it next week.
See you next week.
So, no, not next week, stay around, it's so
No,
confusing.
you said cable.
Well, if you're
So I
watching it on
said,
cable,
if you're watching it on cable, see you next week. If you're watching it on Madhouse TV, we'll be right back.
just
How
like
was
she
that?
said, good. Right back, good night, everybody.
Is this televised on Fios?
No.
Come on now. What the? What now? Oh my God! I just had you fixed. I hate you. No. Oh no! It's still leaking. I need you to fix it now.
You can't always control what happens to you in life, but you can control your response to it. Let's see how this could have played out differently.
Felix, we got that little leak back again. I'm so sorry to bother you with it, but would you be... You'll send somebody? Your new assistant? Well, that's just great. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
It may appear in our life that things are falling apart, but in reality, they are coming together. So have faith and remember, peace is within you. Namaste, my friends. The Master Shift is a not-for-profit organization that provides global meditation and other services to humanity. Your donations are greatly appreciated, and they allow us to keep making these videos.
Hi, welcome back to Madhouse TV's Filmmaker Show, and notice how well I put that out there. And what are you doing here tonight?
I decided to stop by.
Why? I don't pay her well.
I told you the last show why I was here. Do you ever,
What was the last show?
Are you losing your memory?
Yeah, maybe. It's a getting old thing, you know?
Yeah, I think so.
Remember, 60 is the new 3. So we got our people back from last week's show,
Yeah.
and they look amazing, and we have more questions for them. And this time, I hope they studied, because we're really going to sail into them, aren't we?
Well, some of them already know, we already asked, so the other people have been...
It's true, but let's
They gave their
reintroduce!
answer.
Hold on a second. Reintroduce! God, you're going to
No, you do
reintroduce.
it.
I forgot their names. George Sidati and the new
5-Star Millennium Entertainment.
5-Star Millennium Entertainment. Welcome back, guys.
And then we have Debbie Gross,
That's right.
Guy, and I can't pronounce your last name.
Caraturo.
Caratoro.
And Mike,
McNasty. No, Mick
And
Cassidy.
Pat?
Riley.
Okay.
And he's playing Sister Maylene in the new play, St. Matthias. Great new play about the nuns who cut hair when they're not supposed to.
So these guys have all been in a play, and they're in an acting troupe.
Yep.
With George being the writer-director. And in the last show, we were talking about how do you approach when you get a script, how do you translate that into the part and knowing your lines? So we were up to Mike on that one.
The first thing I do is I take the script and I tape it so that I can listen to it over and over again. And as I'm listening to it, either in my car or at home, I try to envision actions to go with the dialogue, try to get inflections to try different meanings of emphasis on different words to see how you can change the meaning, which is more appropriate for the character. And then you develop your character that way also.
That's right.
Interesting. Yes.
And you know what Helen Primus on another Channel 20 show, a stage, screen, and in between,
Yes.
said about what she says? Well, how would she describe that? It's how you, sounds like,
I don't-
how you color it.
Oh, that's right.
Helen
That's
was
right. I'm
brilliant
sorry.
with
How you
that.
color
Yeah.
it. Yes.
Quick little plug for my friend Helen.
Yes,
All
hi,
right.
Helen.
Hi, Helen. Back to Sister Maylene. So anyway,
No, I thought that
Where's
was
your habit? You need a
Pat.
habit.
it's Pat Riley, and I'm teasing him because,
He doesn't look anything like Sister Maylene.
which really scary, he does.
You got a pair of scissors, Pat?
Pat might have a more than a
But
pair of
he's
scissors.
not
A
wearing,
ruler, yeah.
he's
It's-
not wearing a habit.
What a habit is that? Yeah.
I kicked the habit.
He kicked the habit. Go for it. You guys all got great sense of humor. That's why it works, you know?
Yeah.
So tell us how you got started. And you're a lawyer too, and we're going to probably induct you on Legal Straight Talk, but go on.
Okay. Well, I got started because I wasn't terribly athletic, and there were lots of girls doing theater. So it was a great way to begin.
A great
I tell my
Aha.
daughters,
There
if
you
you
go.
want to meet men, go to the car show.
Uh-huh.
I tell my friends, if you want to meet girls, you want to meet women, go down. You don't have to act. You
No,
don't have
no,
to be on
no. To
stage.
meet girls, you go to the supermarket. That's what you do. They're lonely. They're shopping for themselves. Just go for it.
No, my
No?
brother met his wife doing the spotlight for a show.
Uh-huh.
Yep, held the spotlight on her.
It's actually
you
a
go.
great meeting. You know
There you
why?
go.
Because I'll tell you why. It's something in common with somebody. Not that you
Right.
find somebody on the internet and suddenly you realize she's a teacher and you're like an out there person. Oh. Anyway.
Too close to home.
Oh, boy.
So, how do you prepare?
Well, this one was easier because this one was.
Are you saying
fun.
George is easy? So,
Well, no, the script was easy because this was comedy. This was a lot of one-liners. So this was sort of like almost like an old vaudeville routine.
okay.
You know, where it was the timing of the thing that was really important. You know, the last time when we were doing Abigail Summers, it was a lot more serious. It was, do you think back to your criminal procedure course and think back to how did they prove reasonable doubt and think back to, what was it like working in a big office, which I don't do anymore. So, that was the prep for that.
Wow, I could almost see a show being done here at Madhouse, for example, dressing up the sets. I could almost see it look like 12 Angry Men in a way, where you could have 2 sets of 6 or X amount of people, and then the judge, and then coming up with the reasonable, or trying to find the reasonable doubt for Abigail. And, that would be interesting. I wonder, leading up to that, there's your next idea, sir. And we're here for you here at Madhouse TV.
.com.
.com, right.
Vicky, she's teasing me! On the air!
You got a problem with that?
And I don't know anymore at this point. So you put all this.
Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute.
Wait, what?
Wait, never mind.
What did I do? I run over your whole sentence. No, you
No,
go.
no, no. I was gonna
you
talk
go.
about something else you ran over since we've been on the air.
Okay. Tell them about what I did.
You tell them, you're a better.
So I'm at
storyteller.
Madhouse TV one night, and we're working on. Were we working on date night that night? Oh no, we weren't. It was something else.
You were here for a reason.
There was a reason. One of the shows I was working on. It was. Anyway, what had happened was, I get a phone
It
call.
was
which
Passion for Life.
Passion for Life. That's right, with Dee and friends. That's on Friday nights. You should tune in. It's a good show. So what happens is, I get a phone call, at the same time I get a text, at the same time they're all waving at me, at the same time I'm starting my car. And all of a sudden, it lunged over a divider, so my Mustang was like literally hanging over a divider. And the funny thing was, we had to wait, there was nobody to tow it away, actually it didn't even need a tow, it just needed to be lifted and pushed over. Like, if you were there, you could have done this.
Me and sister.
Now, what that had to do with their show is another story.
I don't know what my rationale for that was, but it was there
Do you really have rationale?
all the time.
Oh my God, what did I marry? Let's go back to Catholic school. George, how do you prepare for a role?
I don't.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at.
Oh, boy.
Well, he answered you in the first show. but
You
we
have
can
to write
talk
my
about it
name
again.
30 times and have your wife sign it for me.
Oh no! I got a
Exactly.
punishment.
Exactly.
I got a punishment. Damn it! I knew I was
Well,
gonna get away with
it's
it.
either that or we
Now
snip
you
the hair,
curse
one or the other.
All right, so no, let's do the punishment. We're not touching
All
the
right.
hair. Do you know how much Cindy works on this every 2 weeks? You know how much colors in there every 2 weeks? It's terrible. And then you got to keep
He's
it
worse
long.
than any girl I've ever met.
And you know what? It's
Totally.
really hard. You know what's hard? I get a call for the Deuce. It's the 70s, or like I'm in this week's the Get Down. Okay, it's 70s. And then I get a call for like Blacklist 2 weeks ago, and like the hair's got to be pushed all the way back and smothered down. It's got to look like, you know, that kind of a world.
Life
And
is rough, but somebody's got to do it.
somebody's got. You never know what your hair is going to need to look like, but you just got to be very versatile. So, okay, I was going to you, and now that I got a punishment, I better finish it up.
All right, that's all right.
So, first of all, what's my punishment for getting the wrong names in here in Catholic school?
Well, you're gonna have to write each one 30 times on, cursive writing paper.
Oh, no.
And the penmanship better be neat.
Do I have to go to confession, too?
That's for him to decide.
Oh, my gosh.
Or sister, I can't, maybe sister.
Are you guys
can
from
help
St.
me out.
Matthias
I
liking
think
this?
you've probably burnt a few confessionals just by opening up your mouth and speaking.
Oh, boy.
You know, so how do you prepare? I mean,
Well, like I said, I would study 2 or 3 hours the script. I tried what Mike did, which helped me a little bit. I actually set it and recorded on my phone, and I would listen to it, and that helped. And my friend Patty Klein from St. Matthias, I'd go in the morning, like 7 o'clock, she'd sit me down, she would do the parts that weren't mine, and I would have to come back with the parts that were mine. And we would work that every single day.
that's a
Until
great
I-
way of doing
Until I
that.
made it perfect, yeah.
So, formally, George, where did you learn how to write, and how did you put all that together?
Well, like I said before, I'm basically a very quiet type of a guy. I'm not loud at all. And the only way I have of expressing myself is by writing. And it has worked for me in the past. I remember when I was in the Army, I guess like everybody else in the Army, yeah, we're all disgusted about being in the Army. I
Sure.
hate being in the Army, and you get the KP and the motor pool and everything else that went with being in the Army. And I had my own column when I was in the service. And what I did is that I was going to get even with the Army. I was going to show them how I felt about being in the military. So I wrote an article that supported Muhammad Ali at the time that he got suspended. This is going back to the 60s. And I said, they'll never print this. This is too much. I compared Muhammad Ali's suspension and him being taken away from the heavyweight title, to having the heavyweight title taken away from him. And I compared that with Max Schmeling, who fought Joe Louis. Now Schmeling went into the ring with the Nazi insignia on his boots. Now the point is that if we weren't afraid then, why are we afraid now? Why should we go after Muhammad Ali now when the fact that he's fighting for the heavyweight championship of the world? We don't own the world. But anyway, the article was along those lines. And surprisingly enough, the Army printed it. And ever since then, I have deep respect for the military.
It's
Because
interesting
the
how he
fact-
has snipers out of his window too, looking at him. But that's very interesting. And where did you learn and school up for this?
Where did I learn?
That would be the girl I'm looking at. Yes.
I have not taken formal acting lessons.
Okay.
I thought it would just be a fun little hobby and.
Okay. Are you married?
No.
I was going to say,
I'm
does your husband
divorced.
support you? Divorce. All right. Does your ex-husband support you with that? Well, that's a dumb question. Why would an ex-husband support another punishment? I mean,
Mine doesn't.
looking at the teacher now is another punishment. You fit the
I
role
guess
of a
he's trying to
teacher.
figure out at what point in life drove you to do this. Like,
It was either the drink or this, so I could tell.
I don't know, I just thought it would be a fun thing to do. I picked up this hobby later in life.
Nice.
Yes.
Notice her face is blending as red as the couch. I just see eyes now. Pat, what about you? What did you prepare? I mean, where did your world come from to do this?
Oh, boy. Well, I mean, I liked school, I liked history, I liked studying. So when I started to do plays, they were a chance to look at parts of life that I had no experience with. You know, I'd do Fiorello. In the 8th grade, I was in the senior high production.
Yep.
And then I got to learn about politics in the early 20th century, and all sorts of stuff I knew nothing about.
Interesting.
So I really enjoyed that.
So that's how you prepared for it. And Mr. McCasty.
Yes.
Notice I said that right, sir.
very good. Reinforce good behavior.
He's really not nasty. You can't say McNasty. He's really not nasty. You couldn't really call him McNasty.
No, he's not nasty.
That's like a new hamburger at McDonald's, McNasty.
That's a good one.
That was a good one. Cut that because McDonald's is going to sue us now, but fine. Tell you what, let's roll that clip for this episode. Vicki, if you wouldn't mind rolling that clip for us, then we can get an idea of how this looks. And we'll be right back.
Reading of the minutes, Ms. Page. As Sergeant at Arms, I'll second the motion. Thank you, Mr. Corleone. Now, does anyone object?
Nobody's going to object. If anyone does object, I'll make them an offer they can't refuse.
I'm sure that won't be necessary, Mr. Corleone. Now, let us proceed. I would like to have had a report read by our treasurer, Mr. Vincent Ponzi, but he couldn't be here tonight. The parole board turned down his request for a leave of absence. So instead, I'll call upon our public relations officer and second vice president, Mr. Fred Armstrong.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have written our U.S. Senator, Jack S. Inafog, requesting Senator Inafog to attend our upcoming St. Francis of Assisi golf tournament. Senator Inafog wrote back saying, "This is the first time I am hearing about it. I will check into the matter and have my chief of staff get back to you."
How long ago did you invite the senator?
About 6 months ago.
And have you heard anything back from the senator?
Oh yes, Senator Inafog invited me to attend his fundraising efforts for the upcoming November elections.
I guess he's a busy man with the economy and the environment and all.
Oh yes, Senator Inafog is definitely a busy man protecting our rights and our interests. I would like everyone to keep in mind that there is no jackass like our jackass.
Will that be all, Fred?
No, there was a recommendation for our upcoming...
Not bad at all. And you know what? It just reinforces my love for the theater. And I said, wow, you see, and you made it work. You put everybody at a table. It looked like it could have been a board meeting, so you didn't need a lot of things behind it, and everybody seemed to have their parts right on point. So, kudos, George. Good job. Mr. McCasty, right before that little film clip came up, I was about to ask you what you did to prepare. So what do you do to prepare again?
I record my dialogue so that I can listen to it and try and come up with different inflections, different way to pronounce it, and also the actions that you have to do.
And did you learn this
record
in
it.
school? Did you go to?
I did take private lessons.
Okay.
After I've been acting since actually 3rd grade, and also I'm a musician.
Right.
Played the contrabass back in the orchestra in the 3rd grade.
You're not from St. Matthias, right?
No,
Double check.
Lyndhurst.
Okay.
But then I got into the theater more lately in high school. I did the musical that they asked me to perform in the band with, and then the following year I jumped up on stage and I started acting. So I've had both music and acting as well.
That's
in my
awesome.
past.
That's great. That's great. So now the questions come to mind. Where do you guys want to go with all of this?
Well, I guess
Silence in the room.
Well, Pat has a company, his an own company, and I have a production company.
All right, let's
as
hear
well,
about
so
it.
we
Tell
do-
me about your company.
We do theater on our own. I know he'd, go ahead, Pat, you.
All right, well, I'm a part owner of a theater called Eastline, which is located in Wantagh. It's a black box. It seats 45 people.
Okay, that's
We
nice.
do 11 shows a year.
Great.
We just announced next year's schedule, and we're really excited because we're doing a regional premiere of Charles III, which was just on Broadway. And I'm directing 2 shows and producing a couple more. I'll be doing Laura, which is the movie from World War II with Gene Tierney, and Boeing Boeing, which is a comedy, so it'll be fun. And right now I'm directing Ideal Husband. And
Which I am. I just
right, there you go.
point that
Yes,
out.
yes. An Ideal Wife.
No, you're not.
These are mythical characters? Okay.
Wait a minute, no, he's not directing The Ideal Wife, or no, I'm not the ideal wife? We need to set this straight on television.
You're in big trouble now.
No, you're.
Look, he's rolling up his sleeves. He's going to give me a punishment. I'm telling you. This St. Matthias thing is coming right out. Let me
Are you
tell
scared?
I'm very
And you need to
scared.
answer the question, dear.
Uh-oh. We'll have that one later.
Afraid of me?
Oh,
I'd be
no.
afraid of her if I were you, not me.
She's not Catholic. She's Jewish. It's not a problem here. But go ahead. Why don't you tell us, and we'll get
But
back
then
to you
there's
later.
Jewish guilt.
Vicky, she's teasing me on the air again. And tell me about your company, sir.
I am a part owner of Stage Light Entertainment. We do our shows at the Baca Arts Center on Wellwood Avenue in Lindenhurst. This weekend we're closing out the stage production of the movie Clue, which is very fun to do. This winter we're going to be doing Christmas Carol the musical. We do the Mr. Magoo version.
That's the one you're going to do, because you're not going to do the Jerry
Best
Parisi version.
song,
Good.
best song.
That's just double check that one.
And next year, our programs, we have Company we're doing in February, The Importance of Being Earnest, which I'll be directing. You Can't Take It With You, which I'll be directing that one as well. And another one that I'm doing with an actor, James Carey, called Stones in His Pockets. It's an Irish play with 16 characters split between 2 actors, changing back and forth the dialogue and changing
Oh,
the
wow.
characters as well. We each do 8 characters. And it's a story.
Look at that, yeah, they're doing the
With-
8th character.
Exactly,
thing
with
again.
the brogue and everything. Scottish, Irish, very challenging.
That
and
is challenging.
That sounds
Can't even
actually
imagine
good.
that.
I like that.
Yes.
Did you know one time in acting school, it's so easy for me to blow through a commercial because I did them all my life being in advertising. And so for me to do a commercial, it's easy to pick up a script and bang it out. So in acting
Just like
class,
that.
just like that. Remember what I did in John Pilata's class? Go ahead. What did I do? I did Russian, everything Russian, big mean Russian people doing it. That's what I did, the whole thing. And it was
That's
like,
true.
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got to do that because you don't want to do anything that's easy. If you can do it's
Right,
easy, it's
you-
not
you
good.
need something
You're not going to
challenging,
grow.
right, yeah.
See, he won't hit me with a ruler now.
I've never seen him scared of anybody. I need to be able to get in touch with you.
I don't know how, I don't really scare anybody. This is kind of shocking.
Sweetie, he's paying me. So George, where do you want to take your troupe? Where does this all go? Especially since everybody has different, they're all in different places. Where do you see yourself going?
Well, I guess like, everything else, you take it one step at a time, one day at a time.
One day at a time. Oh, sorry.
I started out by giving plays for the Muscular Dystrophy Association in order to help out Jerry Lewis.
I met Jerry Lewis.
Yeah.
It was the first actor I ever met was Jerry Lewis.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yes, Joseph Levitz is his name.
And
Yeah.
so from there, I started out with a play, and then there was I think 3 people in the play, 3 or 4 people. Then I wrote another script. There was like 4 or 5 people, and it just grew naturally. So to answer your question as to where I'm going, in all honesty, wherever it takes me, I can't.
Oh, here I thought you were going to do the Muscular Dystrophy Association, but all right, fine, wherever it takes you.
But he was a great guy, and for
was.
the years that he existed, the only thing I didn't particularly care about was the fact that Jerry Lewis never got the Nobel Peace Prize. I've always figured that there were people on the list who should not have gotten it, and he should have definitely have gotten it. He was a terrific human being, and so
He was a good guy. He
I've
was
always
a
tried
nice
to help.
guy.
And that's how basically it started. And now I've gravitated now over toward television, Cablevision, Channel 20, which does excellent work. Your show is terrific. I mean, people
Thank
should tune in, people should tune in more often. Get to see the great actors that's available on Long Island. I mean,
Yeah.
who knew about Pat and his production company, and Mike and his production company, and, you know, everybody.
We all knew about St. Matthias, let's just get that straight.
So you do get a feeling as far as what's the available talent out there.
Yes,
And,
yes, you
uh,
do, you do.
You know, it's-
And Debbie, stop talking so much, I can't get a word in edgewise. What have you had to say for yourself at this point, miss?
Well, I don't know, I just do this for fun and,
I love it, because
It's a lot
every
of
time you
fun.
put her on a spot, she blends in with the
What-
red couch. That's
What do you guys do in terms of costuming?
a good question.
Well, basically, as you write, you have to consider any props or any costume or any
Right.
dress code, and you take it page by page by page by page. So usually, as I write, I'll probably write along the lines of having somebody, which they already have. Somebody has a suit, as we
Okay.
did in Abigail Summers, they probably have a suit to wear, as in this, whereby it's very casual, where Pat and Mike and everybody
Right.
else came out in a very casual dress. So it's considered in the script, in the storyline. It's not something that I gotta bring in and dress up, you know, the stage. And for
You wouldn't work out
Do you-
well in
do you,
IATSE, I tell you.
Do you, if you need, do you rent costumes? Do you make costumes? Like, what do you?
I never got to that point yet,
Oh,
although
okay.
there was an attempt.
Shameless plug on the one who makes a lot of costumes.
You-
Shameless plug. You're doing my homework. That's a lot of homework, too.
There was an attempt by the Huntington Arts Council, I forget the person's name, I think his name was John Carrara, I don't know, I think that's his name.
Uh-huh.
And he tried to incorporate everybody so we can borrow on one another costumes if we need it.
Oh, that's an idea.
So, you
Yes.
know, Frank Patron has always been
Yes.
supported, you know, the arts and theater, from
Yes.
what I understand.
Yeah.
Which was, you know, considered. And it never came to fruition, but it was a good idea.
It was a good idea,
Yeah.
probably was a good idea.
Yeah.
So why are we picking on St. Matthias so much? Because Mr. Guy Caraturo has an automobile. Caraturo, you were a teacher at St. Matthias, and I grew up in Ridgewood, and I'm proud to say that, and I say it all the time, I grew up in Ridgewood. It was Brooklyn one day and turned into Queens the next. Am I right?
That's true.
There you
Right,
go.
yeah.
No one knows how that
Yeah.
worked. Because we lived in Ridgewood, Brooklyn, New York, 11227, but I suspect it was the Queens side. And in fact, St. Matthias's original address was 5825 Catalpa Avenue, Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, it was Brooklyn, New York.
It was
Oh, wow.
11227. And then, when they opened up the new post office at 11385, then everybody got the Queens zip code and we were officially Queens. So the reality was, I lived on the Queens side, but it was Ridgewood, Brooklyn, and Ridgewood, Queens was together. And I went to that school, and it happened to be a wonderful school, St. Matthias. And I have to tell you that every once in a while, I'll go back and still get amazing chills going to church there. And I'm not a churchgoer, let's not get some rumors started here. I will go back to church, and to the choir, am I right or wrong? It was like second to none, it was
Choir's-
amazing.
Right, the choir's fantastic.
The choir
Yeah.
will give you chills, and the pipe organs in St. Matthias are taller than the madhouse
Yeah, really.
ceiling.
Yeah.
Some of them are probably taller than this building, it's so big. And St. Matthias is a cathedral, it's a wonderful church, and all of you should know that the family, ABC TV's The Family, filmed scenes in St. Matthias Church, which is supposed to be up in Maine for the purpose of the show, and I recognized it instantly with its green marble and the amazing, beautiful statues.
And that's amazing.
Humbug, dear. Anyway.
It's a little early in the season to be doing humbug already.
So,
Are you
with-
trying to get in character?
No, I'm not, but I'm really trying to say that I loved all of you tonight. I really want to see you back again. And so, George Sedati, let's say it again, the new
5-star.
five-star Millennium
Entertainment.
Entertainment
Now,
Company.
are you on Facebook if somebody wanted to get in contact with you?
Okay,
George
great.
Sedati, period.
George
Yeah,
Sedati
okay, so
on
you don't have
Facebook.
You don't have a business site, it's just George Sedati?
No.
Okay.
Debbie Gross on Facebook.
yes, I am.
Nice, and I got your friend request. You were instantly accepted. And Mr. Caraturo,
Yes.
please remove some of that homework, please.
Okay, you know what? You're free for tonight. And I am on Facebook.
And he's on Facebook. And Mr. Mike McCasty.
Yes.
You're on Facebook
On
as well?
Facebook as well, yes.
Okay, it's MCKSTY. It's not McNasty, McCasty. And Pat Riley with
I
a
am
great
on-
sense of humor you have.
Thank you.
Amazing, you know. I don't know
I'm
how
on
I would feel if
Facebook.
someone called me none, you know.
Well, hey, I've been called worse and lived.
And lived. I love it. So let me throw in some shameless plugs. I want to mention that the Mousetrap Cafe is in Amityville, New York, and they are amazing. And if you ever want to meet any of the Madhouse personalities, like Jerry and Michelle Parisi, come to the Mousetrap Cafe. They have amazing stuff. It's not a commercial. It's not a plug. It's just stating a fact here that they have amazing entertainment that you've seen live here on Madhouse TV, and you can see some of the great entertainment at the Mousetrap Cafe, as well as meet so many of the personalities from our station. You'll meet the girls from Date Night, Benny Rizzuti, also going to be on cable TV. Some of the other amazing people that we have, Evan Ginsberg. You'll meet Jerry Parisi. Oh my God, I want his. Oh, that's me. Mousetrap Cafe. Watch us on Channel 20 Mondays at 2 o'clock. Every Monday, island-wide. We've got some great things going on. You'll see all the good shows and the fun people you see. And from me and Michelle to Vicky Mealy, Tom Mealy, Janine Zarilli, and the iconic Tommy Marr, who's an amazing musician, and watch him sing. I want to wish you all a great night. From all of us, a Madhouse TV to you. Have a great night.
And I